you do renovations, it spikes activity. Like this is the first time I've actually seen it firsthand.
Holy I said yeah.
These aren't yellow guys.
No, it's the chair started vibrating.
What's the matter? What the f*** did you scratch my arm? Jesus Christ! Are you okay? Dave? Dude, something just moved my glasses on my head. What is it?
Dave just got scratched. Are you okay, man?
Oh my God. You heard that, didn't you?
You're good at pushing people around, oppressing people. Push me. Push me down these steps.
Madison, Ohio sits along the shore of Lake Erie. This small village, though quiet and peaceful, has history dating back to the pre-Civil War era. There's one building that serves as a constant reminder of Madison's roots. That building is the Madison Seminary. The original structure, established in 1847, served as a higher education learning center for the men and women of Lake County. But it wasn't until 1891 that the largest and most recognizable structure was built onto the property. This expansion only began after the property was purchased by the Ohio Women's Relief Corps, an organization that rendered help to the Civil War Army nurses, as well as mothers, sisters, and wives who had been displaced by the war. Madison Seminary is now owned by Adam Kimmel, a preservationist and paranormal investigator who is best known as the creator and lead investigator of Resident Undead.
I never dreamed I would own a seminary, but I do. This entire journey has made me undeniably passionate about saving our past. My friends and I use unconventional methods to find the truth within every legend and to capture the voices of spirits. Whoa, that's a human tone voice. You may have heard my name. It's Adam, and I invite you to travel with me as we find and call the Resident Undead.
Steve here from Paranormal Quest with Adam Kimmel, founder of Resident Undead and owner of Madison Seminary. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad to finally have you guys here. I've been waiting for this.
So we just heard that you recently purchased Madison Seminary. How did that come about?
Well, I love saving history. I helped save the Randolph County Infirmary out there in Winchester, and that one was calculated when I went to go save it. With Madison, it wasn't, but I fell in love with Madison back in 2010 when we came out. There was just something about just when you're there, it's just an awesome location. I remember saying to myself, it'd be awesome if I could have this place one day. But that was never gonna happen. And then just consider it, the stars aligned perfectly. I don't know what you want to say, but when I filmed the last time there, just a deal presented itself, purchased it, You've heard how when you do renovations, it spikes activity. Like this is the first time I've actually seen it firsthand.
What makes Madison Seminary so unique is the diverse history surrounding it. Part of that history can be described as inspirational, while it was used as a school to educate young people. But there is a darker side to this building's history.
I call it the Asylum. I've looked at the schematics, there's no names to these floors. As you guys know, or as you've seen, there's a basement, first, second, and third floor on the Ohio cottage, and then you have a basement, first, second, and attic on the old Civil War wing. But it's in the Ohio cottage third floor where that Asylum wing is that I get the worst feelings. I used to do a lot of construction late at night, renovations, doing drywall, plaster, And I don't do that anymore because it just, you get the creepiest feelings when you're alone at night up there. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you always feel like someone's right up behind you.
Yeah.
You hear the footsteps, you hear whispering. It's just, I don't know what happened up there, but I just don't get a good feeling from it.
Now up on the 4th floor there is the Asylum, actually, the former Asylum. Now can you tell me a little bit about that and what it was used for and the kind of state of mind that the people that were in there were in?
We originally were told that yes, there were insane people brought here from Apple Creek and Cleveland state hospitals. Through reports from locals, we've learned that the severity of the craziness is actually higher than we originally thought.
There's some rooms in the lower level, basement, if you will. What were they used for? What's some of the history behind them?
I talked to Mark Nixon. His dad was a superintendent from 1950 to 1970-ish. For about 20 years, he took care of the place. And I learned that when they were transferring honor inmates from the Marysville State Prison, it's exclusively women. The honor inmates, maybe about 6 or 7 were transferred, they actually stayed down in those rooms down there.
This information completely changes the stakes of this investigation. Displaced and suffering victims of war and the energy of school children is one thing, but when you add in psychiatric patients and violent inmates, it completely changes the expectation of the paranormal activity.
Now, the paranormal activity that is here in the building, would you say that it is more intelligent or residual?
I'd say definitely a mix of both. There are a lot that interact with us, but there's a lot of stuff that feels like it's just a loop replaying back and forth because we hear it at the same time every day.
There's an area that's in the attic of the Civil War building. Is there any reports of paranormal activity out of that area or anything that you've personally experienced?
Surprisingly recently, actually, I had 2 volunteers. We basically moved, there's a lot of boards up there and stuff that you guys saw. We're just moving a lot of that junk out of there. And I had 2 volunteers, literally a few days ago, the back tags on their shirt, as they were walking out, they literally felt those being tugged up, which I've never been touched or pulled there, anything. But they swore that happened to them. They wouldn't go back up there after that.
We all know buildings like this are bound to have strange and unusual phenomena, but now that we've arrived at Madison, we found out that Adam has slowly started collecting items that could potentially be haunted.
During our walkthrough, we couldn't help but notice these 2 really eclectic metal chairs. Where did they come from?
There are 2 now. Originally it was just 1. I'm a collector of the antiques. I actually stumbled across the really rusty old one out there in Ohio. Someone had taken it from an old insane asylum out in Indiana. I had to have it. So that's there now. It has some weird activity, I think, attached to it, because anytime we bring these new items in, things do happen. Take it as you will. But there is another chair. It looks like it's in really good condition. It's up on the 3rd floor, which you guys saw in your walkthrough. Here's the thing. I'm going to be a straight shooter with you guys. As far as historical research, I can't find anything on it. I don't know if it was brought in by the last ownership or if it was left over from when the county had it and they didn't know it was up there in storage. Well, anyway, we think it had 2 purposes. We just don't know which one. It is possible that it was a dentist chair. It looks like an old pre-World War II dentist chair. Or it could have been used for lobotomies.
We thought it would add an interesting level of apprehension to conduct Grimm's interview in these antique dental chairs. So we're interested to hear exactly what Grimm has to say about these possibly haunted chairs.
And they were originally used for dental chairs. Why they would be in where they had mentally insane, can only put speculation to the fact, well, back in the day, they pulled teeth of biters and people who were more malicious.
Right.
So maybe, I can't be 100% sure on that, but I feel like,
Underneath that?
no, it's the chair started vibrating.
Oh, wow. Really? Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What was the question? I'm getting a little uncomfortable.
Is it the chair?
Yeah, it does vibrates,
Oh, wow.
but my feet aren't vibrating, so it's not the floor rattling.
We can only wonder if our interview experiment with the dental chairs paid off, because Grimm actually feels the chair vibrate independently from the floor. That makes us wonder what other secrets these antique relics hold. In our conversation with Adam about these haunted items, we find out that Madison Seminary also came with an allegedly haunted doll named Maddie.
There is a doll known as Maddie. Everybody knows about the doll that goes there, but apparently it's Ohio's most haunted doll. And I'm not going to put it up there with Annabelle or anything like that. Just as I was buying the building, the way it was handed over to me, there were some workers that used to have the nursery back there. And every time they would talk with the doll or about it, they would have to hold the doll's hand every single time. You want to talk about some creepy stuff. They were very superstitious, and they said if you treated that doll well, it would protect you in the building. So they didn't even play any games with it.
As the sun sets over Madison, we prepare to begin the investigation, and we'll start on the 3rd floor, up in the Asylum. All 4 of us will attempt to make communication with the spirits that reside up here on this floor, that Adam says have been oppressive on many occasions.
But it's in the Ohio Cottage 3rd floor, where that Asylum wing is, that I get the worst feelings.
Really?
Okay, maybe sit on the, oh crap, that was on the wall.
Sit on the floor?
Yeah, well, maybe, you know.
So what's there that would be setting that off?
I have no idea.
Hey, could you want to hold this cable around the camera for me? Take a peek at it. And it's made of wood, so. You better bring a flashlight.
Yes. I got you. And right there to you.
Gotcha, thank you, sir. Just wood.
Just wood.
The bolts in it, so it wasn't just put together for.
What the hell? Is that your table? I don't. I've ever seen anything like that.
There's bolts in that, so it wasn't just like a makeshift table.
Yeah.
It's pretty elaborate, in a sense.
The device that we're using is called a REM pod. It's a proximity meter. When you get close to the antenna on top of this device, it alarms. We have it sitting on this wooden table, and unexplainably, it will not stop alarming. When we move it off of the table and onto the floor, the alarming stops. And when we place it back on the table, it begins to alarm again. This baffles us. There's no explanation as to why this device should be alarming sitting on this wooden table. The only circumstances that would cause this is if it is sitting directly on top of a very strong electrical current. But the fact is, there is no electrical current going through this table. It's just wood. So our question is, how can this table be alarming the REM pod?
Does anybody want their medications? Unfortunately, we don't have any on us, but if you let us know. Okay, it's a cold breeze, just 1 o'clock my right hand.
I just got a
You
light
guys feel
anomaly
that?
as well.
You got a light anomaly?
Yes.
Going past Steve?
It's actually coming over towards us.
Really?
Yeah.
Just before Steve says he feels a cold breeze running across his right hand, Jason captures a strange mist anomaly moving down the hallway towards him and myself. It's moving at a very slow pace and moves almost fully across the frame before it disappears in the camera's line of sight. We're not sure how to explain this, but it makes us wonder if this strange mist anomaly correlates to the strange cold breeze that Steve feels move across his hand.
Okay, it's a cold breeze, just 1 o'clock my right hand.
I just got a
You
light
guys feel
anomaly
that?
as well.
You got a light anomaly?
Yes.
Is there anyone down here at the end of this hallway? I think I keep hearing movement down here. Are you down here?
There's someone standing beside me. Yeah, what's wrong? Okay, I feel like I've got ants all over my legs and my arms right now.
If you're standing beside Steve there, can you move the doors? If you're standing there beside Steve, can you push the doors closed?
Ryan walking.
Okay, if that's you, can you come out here into the hallway?
That's crazy, man.
You know what?
What?
Earlier.
At this point, we decide to split into two different groups. Dave and Steve will move out into the open asylum recreation room, while Jason and I will remain in this hallway by the patient rooms. We're hoping splitting up will help the spirits feel more comfortable to come forward and communicate. Well. Looks like they shut us in here, Jason.
Are there any Union or Confederates? What's the matter? What's the matter, bro? What's the matter?
Oh, I just felt something. I just felt something rush up right behind me.
Kind of a foolproof validation here. Both meters act the same, and we can guarantee that it's not a malfunction in the equipment, that they are experiencing something that is actually paranormal.
You know?
Ooh. Dude, something just moved my glasses on my head.
Really? Well, then mark that at 29 minutes. We'll have to do 28:30, and then they'll play it through. I had the camera directly on you when that happened too, so.
Dave claims that he felt his glasses that were resting on top of his head shift unexplainably. From this angle, we can't tell whether or not his glasses actually moved, but we can't disprove what he actually felt and experienced. Now that we're separated, it appears the energy is ramping up.
What's the matter? What?
Did you not just hear that door moving?
No. It's like a zip, like a.
Oh,
What's the matter? What the?
I just scratched my arm.
You just got scratched, Ryan.
Jesus God.
What is it?
Dave just got scratched.
Get off. Where's
Are you
it at?
okay, man?
Where's it at? Take the flashlight off of it. Put the flashlight on. That's right. It doesn't matter. He had something move his glasses already.
Something moved my glasses, so we laid
So
them
they're
on
on the floor. They don't. Yeah.
So we were standing here filming them. That's not it. That's.
Where did you feel it, specifically?
Oh shoot. Sorry. That was like right here.
Okay, here, can you hold these A2s? Jason?
Yes.
Or somebody. Oh, you have a recorder, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay.
Here,
I got it.
Here.
Who scratched Dave?
There's nothing there, but it was like.
That's wow. After Dave and Steve believe they hear the door separating us rattle, Dave feels the sensation of fingernails scratching down his forearm. Startled by the pain, he screams out, and we all came running.
What's the matter? What the f*** I just scratched my arm?
You just got scratched, Ryan.
Jesus God.
What is it?
Dave just got scratched.
Upon examination, there weren't any visible scratch marks on his arm to validate what he felt, but this type of malicious activity is still substantial. Something in this asylum appears to be intimidated by Dave's presence, so we need to give Dave and Steve some space to see what happens. Jason and I moved downstairs and across to the Civil War building to see what kind of activity presents itself in the basement, a part of this building that has some dark history as well.
And I learned that when they were transferring honor inmates from the Marysville State Prison, it's exclusively women. The honor inmates, maybe about 6 or 7 were transferred, they actually stayed down in those rooms down there.
We'll also attempt to communicate with the spirits of the children who used to go to school down here. To help us contact them, we'll bring a piece of equipment called a Boo Buddy, a teddy bear with pre-recorded questions and an ambient temperature sensor. We're hoping that this bear will help the children feel more comfortable with our presence. Hello?
Do you have a famous pond?
Is there someone down here who wants to play with us or talk to us? Brought a toy down there for you. You might have seen one before. It's a teddy bear.
Do you know what time it is?
Imagine 2 people in here. Those poor things. Poor people. That's me. Hello? Is there anyone here? We know we're guests. Or visitors, I guess you'd say. We were invited by Mr. Kimmel, so we are guests in a sense, but I know you don't know us, and we don't know you. Dave and I would love to learn your name. Do you have a name?
Do you want to be my friend?
Can you touch the bear? Can you touch the bear or move the ball that's on the floor? Can you roll it to me? I'll roll it back to you.
Do you want to play a game?
EP session. Dave and I are leaving the upper floor of the Ohio cottage, heading down. Mark, door closing.
After being alone on the 3rd floor in the asylum, Dave and Steve believe the activity has begun to subside. So in an attempt to follow the activity, they move down 1 floor to the 2nd level.
I was expecting a door to be there. Okay. That was me.
Phew, it got warm in here.
Kind of unusual that'd be the second time it's talking about it getting warmer. It wouldn't make sense for it to get warmer down here in the basement.
No, not really. That's weird.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I was hearing a little something coming from over there.
It sounds like it's touching one of the plastic on the pieces of equipment. Are you trying to touch one of the other pieces of equipment? Can you push it over for us?
Jason and I are puzzled when we hear what sounds like something tapping on the hard plastic cover of one of the pieces of equipment. Upon review, we're amazed to find out that it was actually the digital recorder. Take a listen and hear for yourself.
It sounds like it's touching one of the plastic on the pieces of equipment.
Christ! Are you okay? Dave?
That'd be a fun game, right? Can you push it down? You can do it. Give it a good push.
Dave? Oh, you're not knocked out, are you? Can you take this? Yeah. There's nowhere to hide. Well, that's why there's only like a small base on these chairs. Did you see that?
No, but I found it out real quick.
With all the activity subsiding, we already planned on moving on with our investigation. But after Dave accidentally tips over his chair, we take this as a sign that we need to raise the stakes. It's time for our solo missions. The four of us will split up, going alone to 4 different parts of Madison Seminary. Dave will be going to the basement of the Civil War building, one of the oldest parts of this location, while Steve will be on the floors above him, in the upper 2 floors of this same Civil War building, to try and communicate with the spirits of the displaced war widows. Jason will be alone on the 2nd floor of the Ohio cottage, with a small Tesla coil to emit energy for the spirits to use, and a routive diode, which is an EVP tool that we've used on multiple occasions.
These diodes, what they do is they record only a certain frequency. So any type of voice that you get through this is almost by definition paranormal, because these diodes do not pick up, as a regular microphone does, ambient noise, our voices, and other types of background noises, etc.
I'll be conducting my solo mission in the 1st floor map room. This is where we conducted Grimm's interview, and I'll not only be trying to communicate with the spirits of the Madison Seminary, but I'll also be investigating the energies of these antique dental chairs. Will this isolation style of investigating make us more vulnerable to the spirits that reside within this historic building? Only time will tell. The device that I'm using on my solo mission is called a PSB-11 Spirit Box, which involves 2 AM/FM radios sweeping simultaneously at a very fast rate of speed. It's said that this creates a white noise base that the spirits can use to communicate. This is a piece of equipment that I had a very high level of success with at Post Town School.
Do you not know? Or are you happy here? Happy. It just said happy. Oh my god.
So I'm hoping to have the same success here at Madison Seminary.
EVP session. Steve, solo mission, Madison Seminary, Civil War building. Make sure they're in here. Hello?
Beginning of EVP solo, May 2nd, PQ. I'm up on 3rd floor, Madison Seminary. Starting now. Okay, so I'm starting my solo up here on the 3rd floor of the seminary. What I'm running right now is I've got a digital audio I'm running, and I've got a K2 I'm going to be using. Additionally, I also have a routive diode here that is already recording, and I also have a Tesla coil that at this time I'm going to go ahead and plug it in hopes of charging this area here with some energy, and let's see maybe what kind of responses we can get. Hopefully maybe get something good to happen.
My name's Ryan. What's your name? Be a pleasure to meet you. No voice came through. Before I do that, could you just tell me your name? Hello? We'll do that. That was a man's voice. Do you have a message for me? Hey, I just heard you. Ooh, I got chills. I got chills now. Who are you?
Can anyone here tell me what this area of the building was originally used for? My name is Steve. I'm from West Virginia. And I'm only visiting here.
If there's anyone up here that can hear me, my name is Jason and I'd like to communicate with you. I'd sure like to meet you. I come here with the utmost respect, and I mean you no harm. If you could give me a sign of your presence, if you could give me a sight, a sound, that would be great.
If you want those chairs out of this room, all you have to do is tell me and we'll move them out of here. It's that easy. Do you want the chairs out of here, or do you like the chairs in here?
There's a window behind me, but I did feel a cold draft come towards me from this doorway right here. I still feel it. So, this is a newer window. So,
If you can hear my voice, I would like to be able to hear yours. Just heard something over here.
If you don't mind me asking, what year were you born? Did you live up here on the 3rd floor? Is this where you stayed?
While Jason's walking down one side of the hallway, the camera stationed at the opposite end picks up a strange light anomaly. It appears in the center of frame, appearing to materialize out of the wall. It floats down very slowly towards the bottom of frame before it exits. Because the night vision camera appears to be experiencing a focusing malfunction on this investigation, the quality of the video isn't clear enough to confirm or debunk this anomaly. We don't want to overlook it just in case it is truly paranormal, but take a look and decide for yourself.
I welcome you to come on up here with me and come up to the end of this table. And it'll be easier for me to hear you or to see you. It'll make it a little bit easier.
chills. Oh my god, the air is just crazy in here. Whew. Okay, I'm back in here now. Did you say something? Holy shit. He said yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm here to talk to you. How can I help you? Personally, I like what they're doing with the place here. What do you think? Keeping the building intact, keeping it from being torn down.
To anyone, try your best. Do as hard as you can. You come close to this device, or just stand in one of your doorways, whichever you want. Try your best to give me that message, and this potentially can pick you up your voice. And we will do our best to relay that message. On 3. 1, 2, and 3.
And I will say that if you have left any messages for me, I do appreciate that very much. And I thank you for allowing us in here, welcoming us here into your home. Once again, no disrespect. Ready to lock and load, I guess, or
So I walked out here because I thought I was just about done because Dave finished over there in the Civil War area. As I was getting ready to shut off this camera, I heard the spirit box say something really loud. I couldn't make it out from out here, but I'm sure that I can. There it goes again. It's a creepy voice because as soon as I heard it, I walked back in there. As soon as I heard the voice, I walked back in there and I said, "Did you say something?" And a female voice comes across and says, "Yeah." Sent chills down my spine. It was crazy.
Did you say something? Holy shit. I said yeah.
With Dave finished up in the basement of the Civil War building, with Steve finished up on the upper floors of the Civil War building, and with Jason finished up on the floor above me in the Ohio cottage, Jason comes down one floor to help me tear down the spirit box, REM pod, and audio recorders that I have set up. And as he is getting ready to walk in the door with me into the map room where the spirit box is still running, it sounds like a voice comes over the spirit box saying his name. What's even creepier and more unexplainable is that the voice that comes across the spirit box saying Jason's name sounds like my voice. Could this be a spirit trying to mock me and calling out to Jason as he's getting ready to walk through the door? Listen to this again and see if you can hear the similarities.
I'm ready to turn it off.
Now that we've concluded our solo missions, it's time for us to perform our abandonment tactic, where we set up cameras and equipment and leave the building to see what happens while we're gone. We set up 3 cameras throughout Madison Seminary to try and capture strange and unexplained phenomena while the building is empty. Our first camera is on the 3rd floor of the asylum, the same area where Dave was scratched earlier.
What's the matter? What the f***? I just scratched my arm.
We also set up a camera on the 2nd floor hallway to see what energy was left behind by the former occupants of this building, because this area is known for its paranormal activity relating to shadow figures and strange movement up and down these halls. Our 3rd and final camera is set up in the basement of the Ohio cottage, facing Maddie, Ohio's most haunted doll. We're hoping that some of the paranormal activity relating to the doll will present itself for us to capture. With all 3 of these cameras rolling, alone in Madison Seminary, they pick up on some strange phenomena that we have to analyze. We'll start with the camera on the 3rd floor Asylum, where we captured a few strange lights passing through the laser grid directly beside the door to the patient rooms. But the only other activity that presented itself the rest of the time on this recording were various footsteps and knocking sounds. Moving on to analyze the 2nd floor, we realized that it was much quieter, because the entire time that this camera was rolling on the 2nd floor of Madison Seminary, it only picked up a few various knocking sounds. Finally, we'll analyze the 3rd camera, in the basement of the Ohio cottage, facing Maddie. At about 24 minutes after we left the building, the infrared extender sitting in the window unexplainably dims as if something is drawing energy from it. Could this be the spirits trying to draw energy to manifest themselves? With this abandonment only producing a small amount of activity that's nothing to write home about, and sunrise fast approaching, it's time for us to hit the very last area that we have yet to investigate of the Madison Seminary. Up on the upper floors of the old Civil War building is the attic, a part of Madison Seminary that has never really produced very much substantial evidence. So the 4 of us will head up there as a team to try and see what spirits wait for us on the upper floors of the oldest part of this building.
You guys give me a
what?
flashlight.
What was it? Just...
Really?
Yeah, I swear.
You felt what?
Well, it felt like something on my vest moved on my back.
Oh.
Really?
This is...
As we're setting up for our session in the attic, Jason claims that he feels the back of his vest tugged downward. Incredibly, it was captured on camera. Watch the back of his vest, just before he reacts. It's pulled downward about an inch and immediately is released and returns to its normal position. You can clearly see both of Jason's hands in front of him, so we know it wasn't a movement of his arms that caused the shift in his vest. This piece of evidence is amazing, because it relates directly to something Adam talked about in his interview.
And I had 2 volunteers, literally a few days ago, the back tags on their shirt, as they were walking out, they literally felt those being tugged up.
So, like we asked a little bit earlier, why they call you Crispy?
Ooh, there it goes. Did that do that before?
No.
Only when I went to put the cake meter beside it and I activated it.
Can you step away from that? Oh.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like a passerby breeze or anything.
What the hell?
What's that?
My radio.
What?
Is that you? Are you with us here now?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hitting two a little bit. You see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that thing though?
No.
Can you please make it hit the second light for us? Or multiple lights. It doesn't have to only be the second light. You can make it light up as bright as you want.
That was weird. Can you really try to make it hit the second light? You almost did earlier. So we grab a hold of that. Just get as close as you can. Use all the power you can.
You can use our energy or the energy from this device, this thing that Jason has in his hand. Take energy from that. That's what that's there for.
Come on, you can do it.
What's that?
What, a little whistle sound?
Yeah. It's either a whistle or a child's voice.
I
Tap
heard it.
over here.
Oh, it's hitting yellow.
Did it?
Yeah, it hit yellow a little bit.
Dang it, I missed
Can you
it.
do that again for us, please?
Just after Steve asks the entity to move closer to the REM pod to make the device spike to the second light, he provides words of encouragement, saying,
Come on, you can do it.
just after that, we hear a voice answering him, before the REM pod successfully hits the second light.
It's either a whistle or a child's voice.
When we reviewed our recorder, we were shocked at what this voice said.
Come on, you can do it.
This has to be the most relevant and profound spirit voice we've ever captured, as it not only proves that our REM pod is being triggered by a spirit, but that this entity can hear us, and they want to interact with us. We just have to play it again for you.
Come on, you can do it.
If you're just enjoying having someone to speak to, or someone speaking to you, let us know.
Even without knowing what this voice said in the moment of this session, we still felt very strongly that the REM pod was being triggered by a very intelligent entity. So we continued to ask questions about the circumstances surrounding this spirit's life and death.
Are you a female?
Went to yellow for a second. It's on yellow, guys.
Oh, it is yellow.
Most of what we discovered about this person is too sensitive to share with you.
Did someone take advantage of you in a very wrong way? If so,
because of the tragic and sad situation that led up to this spirit's death. But we can share that we discovered she was a woman from this building's time with the Women's Relief Corps, and that she was very happy to have someone to talk to. At the end of this session, we felt our conversation helped to provide some sort of peace. As the sun rises and the morning light overtakes Madison, our investigation is effectively over. Looking back on all the experiences and evidence throughout the night is kind of surreal.
what's the matter? What the
I just scratched my arm.
But it's the final session in the attic that we'll always remember.
If you're just enjoying having someone to speak to, or someone speaking to you, let us know.
We discovered that Madison Seminary has a story to tell. A story outside the confines of history books. Adam Kimmel saw it the very first time he set foot inside the building. And after our first visit here, we see it too.